Hi everyone, so a while ago, I can't really remember when, I designed an origami dollar sign, and you can find that up here. And recently I was able to put that onto a coin. So this is my little coin with a dollar sign on it. And yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to design this. I think it looks pretty cool. So with that being said, grab some paper and let's get folding. Alright, so for this model, I used a 6-inch square of gold paper, but just for clarity, I'm going to be using this yellow square of 6-inch paper, but you could really use any size you like. This model is about medium level complexity, so yeah, not too easy, not too hard. Alright, so we're going to start this model colored side up, and let's valley fold vertically in half. Alright, let's unfold. And let's rotate and repeat. Alright, and then unfold, and let's valley fold diagonally in both directions. And let's unfold. Alright, now we're going to make a few pinch marks. So we're going to bring this middle part up to this point, and we're just going to pinch in the center. That's 1, and then we're going to do 3 more. So bring that up to here, this pinch mark that we just made. That's 2, and again up to the pinch mark. That's 3, and then the last one up to this pinch mark that we made here. And try to fold it evenly. Like that. So just try your best to make this length the same as this length. Alright, now we're going to zoom in on this point, and we're just going to take this corner and valley fold it down, just on the diagonal. Alright, and then let's do the same on this other corner. We're just going to valley fold down diagonally like that. Alright, and then now let's turn over, and we're going to valley fold this up so that it ends at this edge right here from the diagonal. So it goes up about like that. And again, when you're folding all the way across, try your best to make sure that this thickness here is the same as this thickness here. Alright, so we should have this, and then let's do the same on this side. Again, folding it up so that it reaches that edge. Alright, now we're going to do kind of the same thing here. We're going to take this little point and fold it on the diagonal, making sure the small edge aligns with this edge, and then do the same on this side. Alright, now let's turn over, and we're going to valley fold this up again, just so that it ends at that small edge. Alright, and now we're going to unfold all of those. And making sure to unfold these little corners as well. Alright, and now make sure you're on the white side for this. We're going to make a fold that goes through this point here. So just valley fold upwards. And then we're going to re-valley fold these edges inside. And just make sure you don't make any accidental reverse folds. It's just a straight valley fold, and we're just going to do it up to here right now, like that. And then we're going to do the same on the other 3 sides, so just fold this up and valley fold the edges in. Alright, and now we have the border for our model. Alright, so now we're going to make a pinwheel base with this border. So let's turn the model over, and let's bring this edge up to this crease. We're not going to do it all the way, we're just going to fold in between these 2 points. Alright, let's unfold, and then let's do the same on the other 3 sides. Alright, now we can start bringing it together. So let's take these 2 creases and make them at the same time. And then make this one diagonal in the middle. And we want to make sure that this flap goes to the left and only to the left. And when you're creasing this, don't crease it sharply along this, because that's going to make a crease here that's going to show up in the finished model. So we're just going to go underneath, and then now we can crease it sharply. And now you can see we have a sharp crease, but no crease on the front, which can happen sometimes. And then we're going to do the same thing all around. So just fold this in and make sure you're creasing this to the left, and to crease it sharply, just go inside. And there we go. Alright, now we can actually start making the symbol. So first off, let's bring this point down to this point. And we want to make sure, again, try and not to make any diagonal creases here, because that will show up in the finished model. Alright, and we're going to do the same on this side, so just valley fold, unfold, and reverse fold inside. Alright, now we're going to do something kind of tricky. We're going to, first off, put your thumb in here, and we're just going to swing this over so that it looks kind of like this. And you want this edge to go in between this point here, so you want it to touch that point, is what I'm saying. And then you might need to fiddle with this a little bit, but you want it to be about like that. So make sure this is quite far back, maybe about, say this is like maybe 1/5 of this whole length, or 1/4, and then we're going to squash it down. Maybe if you want a guideline, so that this length is about the same as this length, and you can change that by changing how far back the pivot is for this. So it takes a bit of finessing. So yeah, the guidelines are fold it at an angle so that this edge touches this point, or goes through it rather, and so that this triangle here, the width of it is more or less the same as the width of this. And yeah, if we look from the back, yeah, it should look a bit like that. So yeah, the width of this is about the width of this. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to valley fold this up, so that, and the valley fold should end at this point here. So just valley fold up like that. And the other point should not end here, but rather just a little bit below it. And then it should be squash folded evenly here. This should be, I think it's called an isosceles triangle. It should be a perfect isosceles triangle. And now what we can do is we can take this and then we can tuck it inside, not this one, but the one that's furthest back, like that. And then we're going to take this and valley fold it over so that this looks like a continuous line. And make sure it's at a nice right angle. And then to make it look more like a continuous line, to sell the illusion better, I'm going to take this flap and bring it to the top. So just pull out this, bring this inside, and then fold this back over. So it should look like that. And then we can fix this little bit here. Alright, and there is the rough top of our $sign. Alright, now let's clean up our $sign a little bit. So this corner is round, so we're going to make this corner round too. So mount and fold it behind just so that it matches with this one, and make sure it aligns with the crease here. And it should maybe go a little bit over this edge, but not too much. Alright, and then let's unfold all of this. And I'm going to do a pretty tricky open sink, or sorry, close sink. So you can see our square in here. We're going to, with your finger behind here, just push it out like that. And then we're going to make a pretty noticeable crease right here. And then you want to push in on this corner a little bit. Or rather, sorry, keep it out. And we're just going to mount and fold on this diagonal here, like that, so it's inwards. It's not on top. Make sure it's inside like that. Okay, now we can push in here. And it's going to look kind of messy. Okay, so what we want to do is push this in, and then we want to make this V crease right here. That's what we want to do. And then have this edge extend, and again push it in, so it should look like this kind of triangle with this flap inwards. And then make sure there's a significant crease here. That's important. That's what I left out. And then you can push the side in and push this side in too. And flatten. So now you can see this end is open here, and then this end is locked. So now we're going to bring this up, back up, and then fold this flap back down. So it's in line with that one. Now, one more thing that we can do to keep this locked a little better, because you can see it's kind of hanging out like this. This is quite tricky. We're going to take this flap and insert it into this pocket in here. So it's taking this point and putting it in there. This is quite tricky, so what we're going to do is just open the pocket up as big as you can, and then you kind of have to roll it in. So you'll make a crease here, and then you kind of have to stuff the excess inside. Or just hold it like this. Make sure this crease is really sharp. Once this point is inside that pocket, the rest should follow pretty easily. And then just try and make it a mountain, push it inside, and then make sure you get all the stuff behind it as well. And close it up. And now you can see it's locked a little bit better. Then you can fold this flap back down, make it flat, and then put this back inside that pocket here. And make sure this is in front. Alright, now this is okay, but we're going to make it a little more curved here. This doesn't have too much of a reference. We're just going to kind of swivel it. So bring this over here. I guess if you would like a reference, the crease should go up to this point here, and then we're just going to flatten it like that, and then the crease should go on a bit of a diagonal, maybe like that, and then do this left side so that it matches with the right. And again, let's take this flap on top, take this flap on the bottom and bring it back to the top so that this remains clean. And our model should now look like this. The dollar bill is a bit more of a curve to it now. Alright, now before we move on to this bottom side, Just gonna take a moment to mount and fold this behind just a tiny bit, and then also the same with this one. We're doing this to the top one just so that it doesn't go all the way to the top edge, so that it's more of a symbol and it's not connected to any part of the outer edge. I can fold that in a little bit more maybe. Yeah, that's good. All right, and we're going to do the same on this side. So I'll show it again. So we're just gonna bring this over here. Now it's a little bit easier that we have reference. So it's this edge is going to go through that point and then squash it down so that it's about the same as this one. All right, and then we're going to valley fold up again on this point, and then squash fold like this. All right, and now we're just going to tuck that in this rear flap for the time being, and then we'll fold this down like that. Okay, now let's mount and fold this behind so that it matches with the other four corners. This one is going to go a little bit over the edge, but that's okay. And it's going to align with the diagonal here. Again, let's unfold. Then we're going to unfold all of this too. You might unfortunately need to unfold a bit of this just to get inside. But it should look like that. Then with our finger behind, we're just gonna push the center out. Oh, and on this side, we can do a little bit too. We can just correct the mount and folds, make sure they lie on the existing creases. And then we should have this. That's a bit more straightforward. And then you want this to not go over this bit, but you want it to go underneath. Again, on the existing creases, just get the diagonal mount and fold in there. Make sure this point is pointy. Like that. And then going to want to close it up. And fold up. I forgot to mention that. Make sure that this isn't folded that way because that can mess it up a little bit. And then I'll just fix this and put it back into place. Like that. Alright, and we're just going to stick this flap back into the rear pocket, and let's fold this flap down. Actually, sorry, we can keep this out for a little bit. And yeah, sorry, let's unfold this as well, and we're going to do that hard step of sticking the flap into the pocket. So open up the pocket. Make this a pinched mount and fold so it's kind of curved at this end, so it makes it easy to stick that corner into the pocket and then kind of push that back bit in. Once the middle's in and the back's in, then you're pretty much good to go, and you can just close it up gently like that. And let's fold this back down, and let's put this back into the rear pocket, or the only pocket now. Alright, and then again we can make this a little less square, so let's swivel, let's fold it so that it reaches this edge here, and then we're just going to flatten like that, and make sure that this edge and this edge align. That's important. Then let's do it on this side, trying to make it even with the right side. Alright, and then let's take this flap in here, let's unearth it and bring it to the top. Some edges might need to be folded over a tiny bit. And you can kind of gently shove it into place like that. And yeah, try to avoid where these edges don't a line here, so try to push them together as best as you can. Alright, and then once again, we're going to mount and fold this little bit behind, just a tiny bit. And then we're going to mount and fold this edge behind a tiny bit too. Alright, and, oh, sorry. Alright, and now our model is almost done. We're just going to take these corners and mount and fold them just a little bit. We're just going to go around and then mount and fold them a tiny bit. So it's not as much of an octagon, but whatever a 16-sided shape is called. Alright, and then again, just now that all the sides are rounded, you can just take any little bit that's sharp, and then you can kind of just push it down just a little bit. So it's maybe a 32-sided shape or something. Just get as round as you can. Maybe these little ones are going to be harder. Alright, and there is your finished origami $sign. I hope you had fun folding this, and in the meantime, have fun folding. Bye.